In this video, I'll talk about common digital forensics tools. So why are there specific forensics tools? Well, first of all, often they're used for evidence gathering, whether it's hardware or software. And at the same time, we need to adhere to the chain of custody, where access to acquired evidence or how data is acquired for evidence is documented along every step. There's also the trustworthiness of data that is gathered to make sure that we know that we've got original data and that we can track whether or not it's been modified, and also having a trustworthy date and timestamp source. There are open and closed source tools that can be used for digital forensic analysis. Forensic tool categories begin with image capturing. Tools that do this work with things like storage media, whether it's an external USB drive, an internal disk array, or an SD card, and so on, where often they are hashed. Now, by hashing an entire file system, we are generating unique values for everything on that file system, all the files, so that if there are any changes made in the future, we can detect that changes were made. There are also ways to capture volatile memory or RAM contents, physical memory. So we can acquire that locally, for instance, by running a tool on a machine that's on, acquiring a memory dump, and perhaps storing it on removable media. Or the memory dump data can be sent over the network to another host. There are also email forensic tools. Part of what they will do is take a look at SMTP headers. SMTP headers are essentially metadata about the email message, including the path that was used to send it. And sometimes different mail systems will form SMTP headers in different ways. And we might even check to see how the fields in the SMTP header are constructed to determine if the SMTP message in fact was forged. There are also ways and tools to take a look at encrypted and digitally signed message and to take a look at the safekeeping of private keys. Private keys are used to actually create a digital signature, which is used to verify the authenticity of a message, and private keys are also used to decrypt messages encrypted to an individual. Other forensic tool categories relate to the database level, where we can dig down into the database and its tables and look at the data itself and also the metadata. We can also determine if row updates occurred and who did them, and we can also analyze specific transactions used by a backend database system. Network forensic tools are designed to capture network traffic, but their placement on the network can be important so that they're capturing the appropriate traffic. For example, in a standard Ethernet switched environment, when we're plugged into one port in the switch, we only see the traffic sent to that port from other devices on the network. Of course, that's besides multicasts and broadcasts. We also have to bear in mind the ease with which packets can be spoofed using freely available tools when we are capturing traffic for forensic analysis. Other forensics tools categories include mobile devices, where we've got tools that can actually take a copy and hash of SIM card contents. Most mobile devices these days also have some form of cloud backup, so often a digital forensics investigator will have to take a look at any cloud account information that was synchronized from that mobile device up into the cloud. A Faraday bag or cage is used to make sure that we don't have any signals that can be transmitted or received by a wireless device. Finally, we might even take a look at the carrier themselves, for example, a telecom carrier, and ask for their logs related to activity on a given smartphone. There are built-in operating system tools that we can use for things like forensic analysis. So think, for example, of the Unix and Linux dd or disk dump command, which can actually be used to take a copy of an entire disk or a partition. There's also the built-in Unix and Linux md5 sum command, although that may vary from one distribution to the other, but it allows us to take a file hash. On the Windows side, we can use the get-filehash PowerShell commandlet to take a hash of a file. Then, of course, there are numerous external tools that can be used by forensic analysts, including EnCase, the Forensic Toolkit or FTK, and Helix. In this video, we talked about common digital forensic tools.